Um, how's it going, everyone? Before here, welcome to Heliopolis Radio. Today, we've been fortunate to be joined by Tom Paldino. Tom is here to share more about Scalar Light, how he's developed it, and what it can be used for health and well-being, as well as his treatment protocol that he's developed with it. So, uh, without further ado, I hand it over to you, Tom. Tell us about yourself and what is it that you love to do?
Hi, Mafaro. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for your time. We're going to speak about researching energy, scalar light. It's the light of the stars. That's what I work with, scalar light.
Hmm.
My name is Tom Palladino. I live in the United States, and I've spent considerable amount of time and effort studying scalar energy, scalar light, the light that gives light to the stars. How
Hmm.
is it that our light, we have light from the stars, perpetual light, perpetual energy from the stars? What is that light? Scalar light,
Hmm.
scalar energy. Now, this is different than that of electricity. I'm not working with electricity. I'm working with a higher order of energy. And if you will, it's massless, it's non-physical, it's intelligence. So we're working with a type of energy that's not electricity. It has nothing to do with electrical current. It's not a movement of electrons. It's pure spirit energy from the sun, the stars.
And so just to draw back so that the audience may have a bit more context, from what I've understood, you've researched a lot into the work of Nikola Tesla, and he understood, or most of us, the concepts that you are speaking of, he had researched intensively. So if you don't mind me asking, when did you become interested in Tesla's work? What aspects of his work stood out to you because it was a broad spectrum? He mentioned that everything operated on the principle of vibration and frequency. And it also had a numerical component to it as well. So there was a lot. It is actually much more. So there was a numerical component, there was light, there was frequency, there was vibration, and then there was geometric shape as well, patterns. And so obviously there are very diverse components, a lot of new age healing modalities that have emerged in today's world. They kind of focus on fragments of what he spoke of. So you have people that study the pattern of numbers and how those affect us, and the patterns of light and the patterns of vibration. People who look into sound frequency and how that affects our cellular structure. So I'm just wondering, what aspects stood out to you the most? And last question, I know there's a mouthful there. Do you believe the world has fully respected the achievements of Tesla and just potentially the genius that he was?
No, very few people respect what Tesla has done. The reason you and I have the technology to speak across the continent is because of Tesla. Tesla gave us the modern day age. No other scientist comes close. Nobody, nobody comes close to him. Okay, so let's break this down. Tesla, in his early career, was enthralled with AC electricity. He was an electrical engineer,
Mhm.
and he gave us many inventions of AC electricity. Again, we owe our modern day age to Tesla, AC electricity. Later in his life, Tesla was graduating to another type of energy that he called radiant energy, that I call scalar energy, that's non physical.
Mhm.
And Tesla said, the day that science embraces non physical phenomenon, we will make great progress, significant progress.
Mhm.
He's right. So this new technology, scalar technology, radiant technology, is non-physical. There's no wires. You don't need wires. There's no
Mhm.
satellite dishes. It's obsolete. It's not necessary. So
Mhm.
I prefer to work with scalar energy, which is a notch above that of electricity. I prefer to work with scalar energy, the supreme energy of the universe,
Mhm.
on account of the fact that it's unlimited in potential. Scalar energy creates, and if we can tap into that energy, the creative strength of God, we can have the creative power Whatever it took to create the universe with scalar energy, and we can recreate the universe with scalar energy.
Wow. Okay. And I guess this will probably bring me to the next question because I think in terms of energy, it's not just harnessing it, it's directing it into a way that is functional for things to operate. I know that there were a lot of inventions that Tesla patented. I didn't fully understand the research behind it, but I don't know if it was called the Tesla coil. I'm trying to get the terminology right, but there was a medium that he designed for it to harness non-physical
Yeah.
energy, because
Yeah.
obviously the current methods that we use to generate and harness electricity, they require specific components and a set structure so that alternating current and direct current can actually be used effectively. So I don't know, I was just going to ask in terms of scalar energy, how have you developed a system that will effectively, or how can we, maybe better ask, how can we harness this energy? What system
Yeah.
could we use to do it?
Right behind me is a scalar light instrument. I'm going to demonstrate. This instrument has a vacuum tube, pointing to the vacuum tube, if you can see that,
Mm-hmm.
that harnesses, that actually creates what I call a scalar wave. This is a photograph, a time-lapse photograph, a scalar wave.
Wow.
So
Wow. And
imagine that vacuum tube, that tube had that scalar wave built in. That's what you're going to find in the vacuum, the double
wow.
helix scalar wave. It will send that to the capacitor that stores scalar energy, and then a capacitor is always pulsing. It's a
Mm-hmm.
battery that's sort of like pulses. It's, if you will, a reservoir that's
Mm-hmm.
pulsing. Scalar energy is a pulsation. It's on, off, on, off. It's not a sine wave. It's a pulsation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally get the scalar energy to that Tesla coil, I am interfacing with the scalar energy dimension. I'm no longer in an electromagnetic dimension. I'm in a different
Wow.
world, different dimension.
Wow.
Now, as evidence, when I hold up a light bulb close to that Tesla coil, the light bulb will illuminate,
Mm-hmm. Incredible.
demonstrating that there's energy coming from the Tesla coil. Now, what's key to my research is this. I am not working with electricity and magnetism. I'm working in a different dimension,
Mm-hmm.
a different reality. And I'm not subject to time and space.
Mm-hmm.
A scalar energy paradigm is outside of time and space. All of the action that is now taking place in my laboratory is non-chemical, non-physical.
Physical.
This is not a chemical reaction.
So
It's
we're,
an info. Go
sorry
ahead.
to cut you off. We're talking about transmutation of some sort.
Yeah,
And
yes, it's informational. It's not chemical, in which we can change one state of being to another state of being instantaneously. It's
wow.
not a chemical process. It doesn't take time. This is not the Krebs cycle. This is not photosynthesis. This is delivering of information, and the information is the animating force, not the chemical.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Incredible. And what medium are you using to because now we're talking about interdimensional
Yes.
communication, and obviously
Yes.
there has to be, because of physical laws, right? There has to be a medium in which that energy can interface with ours. So I'm wondering, the pulsating device, is there a specific material that you've used for it to interface with, I guess, for lack of a better word, the ether that you're mentioning? Um, and if
That's
so,
it. I interface with the ether without the need of a satellite, without the need of a cell phone tower, without the need of wires, without the need of any type of electrical apparatus. There's no induction motor. So it's free energy with a free infrastructure.
and
This is the
so
new way to go. Why do we need all of these expensive appurtenances with electromagnetic energy? Why do we need all of this expensive and dangerous equipment? You don't need that expensive and dangerous equipment. All you need is to access the ether that is safe. and the ether will send out this energy anywhere in the universe.
And I guess the question, as you mentioned, is now the implications of something like this. What did it mean for our paradigm of how we harness and generate power? Because what you're demonstrating here is actually quite incredible. I've read about it conceptually, but I've actually not seen it live in person. This is the first time it's actually being demonstrated. And so I guess the next question is, yeah, adopting, sorry, this method of energy generation. How would it work and what would it mean for us as a society or as people? And are there any limitations as to how much can be generated? I do firmly believe that there is a universal law of balance and order that inherently exists. So too much of something is always not really like a good thing. But again, if you're talking about the ether and it's a way of operating as a limitless source of energy, then I'm just wondering, is it truly limitless or are there limitations as to how much we can actually generate within?
Believe this instrument, this apparatus behind me is a miniature star. And obviously it's scaled down. It's not as powerful as a star or a sun. So the point is it's manageable.
Mm.
Now, obviously, only God can create the sun and the stars. What am I doing? I'm trying to imitate the sun and the stars. So this is a miniature sun. What's key to my work is this: it's non-chemical. This cannot harm you because there's no physical presence. It's information. And when I work with people, the benefits, people will email me their photograph and I access a person by way of their photograph, which is their force field. That photograph has an energy field on it.
Wow.
When people email me their photograph, I never work with people. I work with their force field, their energy field on the photograph. So this is the new science in which we don't work with people.
Incredible.
Which is the electromagnetic spectrum, which is the chemical domain. I don't work with chemicals. I work with energy fields on photographs. So people do not have to physically travel to my office. Email your photograph to me that represents your aura, that represents your, if you will, biological, chemical, spiritual, mental being. The photograph is the representation of a person. In other words, there can be two Toms, the biological Tom and the energetic Tom. I don't want to work with the biological Tom. I much rather work with the energetic Tom on a piece of paper. So this has nothing to do with human biology. It has nothing to do with electromagnetic energy, electromagnetic theory. It's a new branch of science in which we work with energy fields, informational fields. And I can distinguish one person from another from their informational field imprinted on a photograph. My information is embedded, imprinted on this piece of paper. Anybody's photograph has their imprint, their informational field on the piece of paper, on the photograph. I can see you, Mufaro, through this computer. That's your informational field in my computer. I can see you. Obviously, you're not in my computer. Well, when people send me their photograph, obviously it's not the person I'm working with, it's their image, just like I see your image in a computer.
Wow. And so I guess that brings me to the main question is, when did you start using Scalar, right, as a therapy and what type of protocols? You mentioned already that you prefer to work with people's photographs, obviously, for the reasons you mentioned earlier. When did you start developing a therapy? What was the process like? And how does it work when you work with a patient?
Yeah, it's very straightforward. All I ask people to do is email your photograph to me. And once they email their photograph at the end of the night, I always collect the photographs, print them out, and put them in the instrument. I print the photographs out on a piece of paper. Now, once that my photograph is inside that scalar energy instrument, it's enjoying a scalar environment.
Mm.
That photograph is now flooded with scalar energy. And if my photograph is experiencing this type of energy. So what does that type of energy do?
Sorry, Tom, it's just you're a bit far away from the mic. I couldn't hear you. Just muted
Okay.
you a bit.
So what does that type of energy do? Once that energy is entering into my force field, it will identify cancer markers and correct cancer. Cancer is a dysfunction. I can detect a cancer dysfunction on a piece of paper, on a person's photograph, and scalar energy will correct the cancer dysfunction.
Wow.
Scalar energy will find a virus and negate the virus. Scalar energy will balance the 7 chakras, our brain waves. The energy has a mind of its own. The energy is divine intelligence.
Hmm.
I don't tell the energy how to operate. I simply turn the instrument on, and through processes that I've developed, I can instruct the instrument. But the end objective, the end result is always through energy, and the energy has the intelligence to carry out what I want.
Wow. Incredible stuff. Yeah, there's definitely quite a lot to that. And I guess the main question would be how we've maybe as society, I know there are many factors that prevent information like this from going out and from reaching others, but do you see in the near future your therapy becoming more of a mainstream, not mainstream, but a more socially regarded way of treating people? Not seen as something that's out there, but something that's actually practical, that works, that makes sense, and that should be done before any physical interventions needed.
I would hope. I would hope. That's my driving force. I want to see that this becomes accepted by the fabric of society. Yes, that is my goal. That's why I'm still working as hard as I'm working.
And if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been researching scalar energy? Because
Half a century, 50 years.
wow,
Half a century.
wow. And how has it impacted your own health, your own well-being? Because I know people who tune in, obviously, when something that's quite foreign concept to you, you'd want to understand how it's affected the person that has developed it. So if you don't mind me asking, how has it helped you or how has it affected you?
I, I feel strong. I am robust. I'm 64 years of age and I'm very healthy. I don't have any medical complications. I don't have any health challenges. I'm in excellent health. Now keep in mind, I don't take any drugs. I don't take any pharmaceutical products. I don't partake any pharmacological product. I don't need any pharmaceutical product. I am healthy. I eat well. God's blessed me. The people around me that I'm working with scalar energy, they likewise are healthy. And many of them, I would say, enjoy that robust health because they have this energy
Mm.
entering into their force field. It's not entering into us in a biological sense, in a chemical sense.
Hmm.
I believe there's something besides flesh and blood.
Mm.
I believe we have an aura or a force field. And that force field can find its way throughout the space-time continuum.
Wow.
A force field is not bound to a person. A force field can be imprinted on a photograph.
And
So
so,
this is why I don't work with people in the flesh. I work with people in substitution by way of their photographic force field.
and what you're demonstrating here is evidence of existence beyond the physical domain, meaning that a life or a continuation after the physical or biological functions cease to exist.
Yes, exactly. I believe scalar energy is perpetual. I believe everybody has a perpetual soul. So what have I accessed? I've accessed the perpetual spiritual side. I've accessed the spiritual dimension, the non-physical spiritual dimension. All of this is non-physical spiritual energy. divine energy. There's no electrons involved. So what is it? It's non-physical divine intelligence.
And so that kind of now makes that statement, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration, and light. Or energy, was it one of the two? I forgot the quote, but that's what Tesla did mention. He said if you wanted to understand the fundamental nature of existence, you have to understand those concepts. And I think what you're demonstrating here, again, I've not seen it actually being done live, but wow. It's quite special. So I did have an interesting question. Have you heard of Edward Leeds Scullman?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Because he's interesting in his work, he defines everything through the principle of magnetism, as magnets is the foundational force of existence. Um, I don't know what your thoughts are on his work, on what he did at Coral Castle. I find it quite fascinating. So I don't know if you'd maybe like to share your insight or your opinions.
Yeah, I understand. Edward Leeds Scallion built the Coral Castle, and in so doing, he was able to uh, erect these monolithic structures without the use of any type of heavy equipment, heavy crane or any type of forklift. And it's believed that he used anti-gravity devices to set these stones into place.
Hmm.
He built, if you will, like a miniature castle, if you will.
Hmm.
And he worked alone, and he was a frail built. He wasn't an athletic man. Did not have the physical strength to pick up uh, these large blocks of stone and put them in place. So how did he do it? Probably by anti-gravity. Probably by anti-gravity.
And I guess I know I do have, just for time's sakes, I do have some concluding questions, but I did want to ask one more. If you look at a lot of our ancient cultures and civilizations, they say, we're led to believe that they were not as advanced. But even looking at that scalar wave photo that you showed, it was a pyramidal structure that was harnessing those scalar energy waves. And so
Yes.
it seems to me, and just from the glimpse of the eye, that our ancient civilizations had a full understanding of the ether and how to live in harmony in it and how to utilize it. Do you believe that as well? Or yeah.
I think many civilizations realize that this energy existed. Some call it chi, prana, raw, ra, pyramid energy, orgone energy. Um, Many civilizations realize that this energy is primal, and you have to go back to the source of light. Light is fundamental. The only thing in the universe that's fundamental is light, energy. So
Mm,
go back to the source of light. What is the source of light, energy? The stars. It's that simple. So what is the primal force? The energy of the stars.
mhm.
What's the energy of the stars? Scalar energy. At the center of a star is scalar energy. At the periphery, when scalar energy breaks down, it's electromagnetic energy. That
Mhm.
causes your corona. But at the center of a star, it's perfect coherence, it's perfect energy. Go into the center of a star, you'll find nothing but scalar energy. When scalar energy leaves the star, you'll have a solar flare. That's an electromagnetic burst of energy.
Wow. Yeah. A lot to digest, a lot. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in reaching out to you and understanding more about your work and what you're trying to bring now into the public. And it's interesting. I guess we're at that time, right? Given the problems that we're facing as a species, there's a lot going on. So I believe that your work is now, I guess, 50 years at the forefront. Everything has its divine timing. I was going to ask, um, how can people reach out to you? How can people access Scalar Light protocols? And yes.
A website in which anybody in the world can email us your photograph. Email us your photograph and I'll treat you for free, your family for free, their photographic force field, their energy field. Obviously, it's not you that's coming to my laboratory. You're sending your, if you will, your representation. So
Mhm.
email your photograph, get your family's permission, for 15 days. No questions. I'll work with you. We'll send this God energy, this divine energy into you, the scalar way. The website is scalarlight.com, SCALAR, scalarlight.com. Just the website. Anybody in the world is allowed a free session. I'll treat everybody in South Africa.
And I guess the last question would be, what are your words of wisdom and advice for the audience tuning in today?
I believe God created scalar energy, scalar light, and we're gifted by this divine energy. So thank God for the light, the light of the universe. And now let's put that light to good use. In application, this energy will change the course of history. We will change the course of history with scalar light.
Wow. No, Tom, it's been an absolute joy, really, to have you come in and demonstrate years of hard work in cultivating a treatment plan for humanity as a whole. And I think this is the right time to be putting yourself out there through podcasts like mine. Obviously, my reach is relatively small. I will do my best to make sure that your message gets out and that people do reach out to you. And I'm hoping that in the near future, as the world shifts and changes and adopts new ways of living, yes. And I'll mention that, yes, there are free sessions for your family. And I'll put your website in the bio description.
Okay.
For those that are interested, obviously, I must just say right off the front that in Southern Africa, people are relatively conservative this side. So whenever anything's presented, it's always met with it could be met with a degree of resistance, but again, there are always those that are open to hearing your story and what you do. And I'm sure they'll be the ones to reach out, and eventually more people will. It just takes time, I think. It takes time for the paradigm to shift. But your work is incredible. It really is. I don't know, I guess synchronicity wise, I did always have a fascination in terms of all these people that are kind of unspoken of in today's mainstream scientific world. So your Teslas, your Skalnins, your Schwarbergers, all phenomenal individuals. And now, yeah, your name is being added to that list. Yeah, no, it really is that. It really is that. And half a century of work is no joke. So, no, thank you so much, Tom, and I appreciate you coming on and wishing you all the best.
My pleasure. Thank you for acknowledging the work of my peers. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. It's the only way. It's the only way forward. Start recording.